Welcome to our video presentation on gender bias in AI. I'm sure after this semester you've all heard a lot about AI and machine learning. So, does this structure and image remind you of anything?
It starts to look like a graphical representation of a neural network, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So let's start by introducing ourselves. Hi, my name is Sina and I study Life Sciences Engineering at EPFL.
Hi, my name is Tanya and I study Life Science Engineering at EPFL as well.
Hi, my name is Camille and I'm a UNIL student studying economics.
In order to get deeper into the topic, we would like to start with the basics and define a few terms. First of all, what is data? Oxford Dictionary defines data as the following: information, especially facts or numbers, collected to be examined and considered and used to help decision-making, or information in an electronic form that can be stored and used by a computer.
This is quite a mouthful, so maybe some examples would help to illustrate this definition. One type of data comes from nature. We can collect data on plants or the environment in general. Another type of data is statistical data. This can be anything, for example, social studies. Another type of data would be financial data. This can be used, for example, to study consumer behavior. There's also scientific data. This can be used to understand our own bodies better. The last example we have is meteorological data. This can be used to make weather predictions. And of course, there's many more examples.
Have you ever accepted a cookie on a website? This is a commonly used type of data collection nowadays. We would like to now specifically focus on bias in data. This right here is a real-life representation of an example that lies really close to our own hearts.
Bias can enter data through different ways, the first one being data collection and the second one being the development, implementation and use of data. Both data collection and its development is structured in different steps, and bias can enter it along the way. You can look at the screen for more details about how both processes are happening. The first bias I would like to stress on is representation bias, which occurs when we choose a non-representative sample. For example, if we were to run a study only with male individuals, then we would have different results than if we would have had both male and female in the study. Now, no matter if you've obtained a perfect sample, socio-technical issues present in the world can still enter the data generation process. At last, the third bias that can enter data collection process is measurement bias. It happens when features and labels are selected, recorded, or calculated to be used in a prediction problem. Let's now focus on the development, implementation, and use process. The next bias I'd like to mention is algorithmic bias. It refers to the distortions that are not present in the data but are added by the algorithm. The user interface and the user himself also introduce bias in data. This is the so-called user interaction bias. Finally, algorithm and users can exacerbate existing sources of bias through the feedback loop. Now we would like to give you a few examples of gender bias in AI. First of all, we'll focus on the recruitment process. Gender bias in technologies used for hiring is a growing concern in the field of human resources. Some technologies, such as algorithms used for resume screening or facial recognition software, may perpetuate gender biases and result in unfair hiring practices. For example, algorithms used for resume screening may be biased against women if the algorithm has been trained on a dataset that is primarily composed of resumes from men. Additionally, facial recognition software may not accurately recognize and assess the expressions and emotions of women, leading to biases in job interviews. To mitigate these biases, it is important to ensure that the technologies used for hiring are regularly audited and evaluated for the potential to perpetuate gender biases. Ultimately, the goal should be to create a fair and equitable hiring process that is free from gender biases and helps to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace.
I would like to present you with a second example for gender bias in AI, in the area of human-robot interaction. An example that certainly all of you have used and even have on your own phones is, for example, Siri.
If you have an iPhone.
Siri was originally launched only with a female voice. And for a long time after that, the default mode on every iPhone was the female voice. Nowadays, it is possible to choose a male voice as well. Other examples include voice assistants such as Alexa or Google Assistant. These smart assistants have been shown to reinforce many of the common gender stereotypes, such as that women are subservient, quiet, and here to serve others. The field of voice assistant data is possibly one of the only areas out there where the data available for women's voices is greater than that for men's. Isn't that quite peculiar?
I would like to mention a third example. I'm sure we have all used ChatGPT by now. It is probably the most successful language model accessible to the public. It is important to remember that language models can be biased too. To test this, we can ask the AI to complete a specific sentence, as in the examples I'm about to show you. A man performing surgery is
A surgeon.
And a woman performing surgery is
A nurse.
So, what went wrong? Instead of doing so-called context association, the AI made a bias association. This means that depending on the gender, the AI finishes the sentence differently. Now, we would like to stress that we tried this example with ChatGPT and it passed this test successfully. We tried to show its bias with several tests, and the only one we could find was the one you can see on the screen. ChatGPT seems to be less biased than many of its predecessors.
Overall, it is important to be more aware of the fact that artificial intelligence is biased too. We would now like to open discussion to all of you. Do you believe yourself to be less biased if you know that the source is biased? And do you think that it is possible to create unbiased AI?
So let's discuss.